Okay, you are live on YouTube.
Okay, I guess we'll get going then. The September 23rd, 2022 Oregon State Lottery Commission meeting is now in session. It's noted for the record that commissioners are attending this meeting via the web. Commissioner Patel is excused and a quorum of commissioners is present for today's meeting. Today's meeting is being live streamed on the internet and a link is posted on the Oregon Lottery website. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Ramirez.
Present.
Commissioner Wilcox.
Here.
Chair Sathoff.
Here. And will the clerk please inform the commission of who else is in the meeting?
Sure, we have Shad Barnes, Gina Parzial, Janelle Simmons, Kathy Ortega, Kathy Stromberg, Chris Scaro, Matt Shelby, Michael Wilson, Mike Wells, Nate Carter, Stacy Shaw, and Ty Calandrello. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. The names were jumping around on my screen as I was reading them.
Great. Thank you very much, Lisa. Members of the public had the opportunity to provide written public comment to the commission for this meeting. A full copy of the written comments that were received were provided to the commission in advance of the meeting and will be posted on the commission meeting website. At this time, would the clerk please share the public comments that were received for the record?
Yes, the following comment was submitted by Kitty Martz with Voices of Problem Gambling Recovery. Honorable Commissioners and Director Pack, 6 months ago, the Board of Voices of Problem Gambling Recovery testified that disordered gambling treatment providers were seeing clients who report substantial losses from gambling on your new video lottery terminal line game, Big City 5's Diamond Jackpot. We continue to hear from clinicians and peers that gambling on this game is resulting in severe negative consequences. Our clients report that they don't realize how much money they are losing because the wager amount isn't displayed in dollar amounts. They also tell us that the marketing signage leads them to believe that they should bet the maximum amount in order to win a large jackpot. Doubling the maximum wager amount per spin is not consistent with the lottery's expressed revenue generating strategy of appealing to a lot of people to play a little. We ask that you please consider responsible gambling as an operator responsibility and discontinue offering this game or any others with these characteristics. Thank you, Voices of Problem Gambling Recovery. And that's all.
Thanks, Elisa. I appreciate that we put these on the record, and I know that the lottery takes all public comments into consideration and very seriously. With that, let's move to Commissioner Communications, and I will simply open that for anyone on the commission who'd like to make any comments at this time. All right, moving on. Director Pack, I think we're at the director's report.
Thank you, Chair Sathoff, and good morning, everyone. I'll start with some general lottery news. As you'll recall, Oregon has learned a lot during the 2020 wildfire season, including the benefit of proactive power grid shutdowns in high fire danger areas. The dry and windy conditions earlier this month, which I will note directly mirrored the Labor Day fires weekend of 2020, prompted electric utilities to proactively cut power in some areas, leading to loss of power for some lottery retailers. We had a team monitoring the situation and communicating to potentially impacted retailers what to do if they lost power. All in all, we had pretty good news all around. Oregon didn't see the majorly destructive fires we saw in 2020, and lottery retailers experienced limited impact. While a few dozen VLTs did go offline for a bit, we saw no glaring issues overall. That said, we always learn something from each event and are working now to incorporate any lessons learned into our operational planning for future proactive power shutdowns. On September 17th, lottery staff and many Oregonians volunteered to help clean up more than 100 Solve sites around Oregon as part of Solve's beach and riverside cleanup. Since 1969, Solve has been mobilizing volunteers to restore and preserve Oregon's environment. And since 2000, the Oregon Lottery has been a proud sponsor of Solve's beach and riverside cleanup. It's important now more than ever for Oregonians to come together for a common cause. Solve's beach and riverside cleanup provides the perfect opportunity to do good things together. Moving on to sales. Overall sales are down this month relative to last year by 5.7%. That said, video lottery sales continue to beat forecasts. The 4 weeks ending in August had sales 4% above the most recent forecast. While video lottery sales are down year over year, that is likely more to do with the continued waning of the boost we saw coming out of the most recent COVID shutdown. Sports betting, the more than 28 million in sports wagers this month were driven primarily by baseball at 13.9 million, followed second by soccer, 4.11 million. And then as NFL and subsequently NBA begin, we expect significant seasonal increases as they are the most popular sports. This September marks our first NFL opening day with DraftKings as our partner and is the peak time of year user acquisition. Moving on to lottery products, while we do see some variability game to game, our traditional lottery games, including Scratch-Its, Keno, and our jackpot games, are up over this time last year by 4.7%, driven by large gains in Mega Millions and Oregon's game Megabucks. Scratch-It sales trailed last year by 9%, but they continue to be well above pre-pandemic levels. The trend of players purchasing higher price point tickets also continued this month. The popularity of the $20 ticket is causing more retailers to carry it than ever before. The number of retailers carrying that price point is averaging 92% this year, compared to business year 2018 when it averaged 81%, and a long way from 2015 when it averaged 64%. Oregon's game Megabucks is up more than 19% this year, and Mega Millions is a whopping 168% up. But remember the $1 billion jackpot earlier this summer. Powerball is down 30%, but measures against some very high jackpots we had last year. Of note, the addition of the Monday Powerball drawings in August 2021 may be impacting the number of draws that occur before the jackpot is hit. The 7 Powerball jackpots that occurred between August 2020 and 2021 experienced, on average, 15 draws before the jackpot was hit. But the 6 jackpots between August 2021 and 2022 experienced an average of 29 draws. Play is now distributed over 3 draws rather than 2, and since play did not increase 50%, there are less players betting during each draw. Keno continues to outpace the forecast for the current business year by 7.5%. And I'll wrap up with some winners. While we don't have any globally viral winner stories this month, as we did last month with the dogs who ate up the $8 winning ticket, these winners are still pretty thrilled with their prizes. Mary Johansson, $100,000 Scratch-It winner. While getting a loaf of bread at Albertsons in Oregon City, Mary bought a hot dice crossword ticket. She had considered going to a different store to do her shopping and was happy she chose Albertsons. Thanks to that decision and a good deal of luck, Mary's ticket was a $100,000 winner. When claiming her prize with her husband at lottery headquarters, she mentioned that she's been playing lottery games since 1985. In addition to saving some of the prize, Mary said they hoped to do some traveling. Mary Johansson was not the only $100,000 Scratch-It prize winner this month. Joining Mary in the 100,000 Scratch-It Winners Club, not a real thing, by the way, were Robert Whitney of Scio. Robert hit it big with the Hit It Big Scratch-It. Oh, that's bad. Winning that game's $100,000 top prize. Robert bought his winning ticket at Fox Den Eatery number 4 in Albany. Gerald Bruce of my hometown Boring won the Sapphire's Riches Scratch-Its $100,000 top prize. Gerald bought his winning ticket at the Safeway in Boring. And finally, Joan Hodge of Portland won the Aces High top prize of $100,000. Joan picked up her winning ticket at Plaid Pantry number 15 on Southwest Walker Road in Beaverton. And that concludes my report for this month.
Thank you, Barry. With that, well, I'll pause for a minute if there are any questions or comments from the commission regarding your report. I would note that downtown is being cleaned up today with Solve, and that my company is out there as we speak. It was something I would normally be doing, but for this meeting today. So anyway, I'm really pleased that Lottery participates, and frankly, the whole state participates so nicely in that. Let's move to the minutes of the previous commission meeting. The minutes of the previous commission meeting have been circulated to the commission in advance of today's meeting. If there are no changes to the minutes, is there a motion to approve?
I move that the minutes of the Oregon State Lottery Commission meeting held on August 25th, 2022 be approved as final as presented today.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Will the clerk call the roll?
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox,
Aye.
Chair Sathoff.
Aye, and I'd like to make a comment for the record that while I wasn't at the meeting where these minutes are described, they were sent out in advance. I had an opportunity to review them. I had an opportunity to discuss them with Barry and to ask any questions of anybody I had. So that's why I'm approving today. And for the record, the motion has passed. Let's move to the, was there a comment? Someone wanted to say something I missed? Okay, let's move to the financial report, and I'm pretty sure Kathy Ortega is on.
Yes, ma'am, I am, Chair Sathoff. Good morning, Chair Sathoff, Commissioners, Director Pack. For the record, my name is Kathy Ortega, Chief Financial Officer for the Oregon Lottery, and we're going to go over the financial report for August, which is the second month of our fiscal year 2023. Turning to the first statement, which is the operating statement for the month of August, we have net revenue of 113 million on a budget of 111.4, $1.7 million favorable. Commissions are unfavorable due to a combination of higher revenue and a slight rate variance, which will level itself out by the end of the year. Moving down the P&L, calling your attention to salaries, benefits, and wages. We have a positive variance of 1.5 million. Because we had an early closeout and reporting this month, I've got staff looking into the actuals and the budget on this. I'm not prepared to comment on the variance at this point. I'll report back next month because I want to understand the variance a little better, both on the actual and budget numbers. So I'll have something for you next month. Net profit of 67.6 million on a budget of 62.5, $5.1 million favorable to budget. And moving to the year-to-date statement for the 2 months, we have net revenue of 231.7 million on a budget of 222.7 million, or 8.9, almost $9 million favorable. And a net profit of 144.6 million on a budget of 115.8, 28.8 million favorable. We don't really have any significant spending variances on the services and supplies for the month and year to date. And turning to the balance sheet, I have it there for you for your review today. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on the financial report.
I'll open that up for the commission to ask questions on the financial report. Elisa, on definitely the month, August, but moving to the year-to-date, both direct and indirect expenses Well, actually not direct, that seems to be pretty flat, but the indirect expenses seem to be significantly down. Is that just timing, or am I forgetting that we've planned for some of this? And maybe you could give me some color on that.
You said, Elisa, did you want me to answer that, Chair Sathoff?
I apologize. I meant Kathy. I'm sorry. Got Elise on the brain there. Sorry about that, Kathy.
Okay. I would say it's just a slow start to the fiscal year. We have a tendency to, ramp up the spending as the year goes on, and we're only in the second month. And like I said, almost 3 million of that under indirect expenses coming from salaries, wages, and benefits, which I want to get into a little bit more and report back out later.
True. Okay. All right. Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. It's kind of a little bit timing, but nothing that structural.
No.
Okay. I don't have any other questions unless anyone else does. Let me look at this. Oh, some of my notes. Yeah, I don't have any other particular questions. Anyone else on the commission? Okay. Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the monthly financial statements?
I move that the Oregon State Lottery financial statements for month ended August 31st, 2022 be approved for the record as presented today.
Do I have a second?
I second.
And will the clerk call the roll?
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox,
Aye.
Chair Sathoff.
Aye. For the record, the motion has passed. With that, Kathy, is there anything else you wanted to talk to us about?
No, that would be it for today. Thank you.
Okay.
Chair.
Great. So let's move then to the major procurement with Kathy Stromberg.
Good morning, Chair Sathoff, Commissioners, Director Pack. For the record, my name is Kathy Stromberg and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at the Lottery. Today, I am coming before you to inform you of a major procurement that we will be seeking approval for next month. This major procurement is with SG Gaming, Inc. Its purpose is to conduct a field trial and, if successful, purchase a new model of video lottery terminals to continue replacing obsolete technology that is currently in the market. Both the field trial and the potential purchase are included in the approved FY23 budget. This major procurement is in support of our video lottery ecosystem sustainability project, in which the Commission has previously been briefed on. The strategic benefits of this replacement strategy include allowing us to more predictably purchase VLTs, assist us in keeping pace with market competition and player expectations, and finally optimizing maintenance and equipment management operations over time. The contract structure will include a master service agreement, an exhibit for the field trial agreement, an exhibit for purchasing VLTs, and finally exhibits for game purchase and game modification purchases. The field trial will be structured similar to past field trials, where we've evaluated a number of performance factors using approximately 100 terminals over a trial period of up to 120 days. We've continued to look for opportunities to diversify our vendor base and maintain a multi-vendor market offer to our customers. In our first procurement of VLTs, Aristocrat Gaming was introduced to the market after a successful field trial in 2019. It's continued to be a very strong performer. The Cascadia terminal is Cygame Inc.'s new terminal, and it was specifically developed for the video lottery market. The Cascadia is a dual screen upright VLT. It's much like the ATI Helix and the IGT Crystal Dual units that are currently in the market. This terminal will also include the popular American original games, which are being ported from the Bali V32, which is a product that is currently in the process of being removed because of obsolescence in the market. And we were also selecting a number of other games to round out the content for that trial. The current estimate for commencing a field trial is January 2023. And we're currently finalizing the field trial methodology plan so we can identify the appropriate locations, the key metrics for analysis during the trial. It's critical that the video lottery portfolio maintain relevancy and long-term product sustainability into the future to support the programs for the state of Oregon. So again, we will be bringing this forward next month for approval. And that's my summary. Are there any questions?
Questions or comments from the commission? Kathy, just so I know we've done this before, I just want to kind of reflect on the master services agreement has both the structure to do the field testing, and if the field testing were successful, you've also included in this agreement that we could move right into purchasing, is how I understand it. Is there at any of those points, are you supposed to come back to the commission, or does it just when we approve this, if we approve it next month, we would understand that, assuming that the field tests were successful, that everything's been done to negotiate and get terms in place to move right into purchasing. Is that correct? Am I understanding it?
Yes, you're correct. The master service agreement is looking at the entire purchase if it was successful.
Mm-hmm. Then is there anything in this master services agreement, or when possibly next month when you come back, is there anything in it that is in terms of risk or anything for the state different than what we've done in these types of field testing and then purchase before? And if you don't have that answer today, then maybe by the time it's time for us to approve, just I'm talking about things that would be substantially different than how we've done this in the past. I suspect not, but I'm raising the question for you all to think about, that if there were, then let us know about that.
I will do a double check, but at this point, I would say it is very much like the last one that we went through, but we'll confirm that.
Great. And it looks like there were no public comments received on this too. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks for the information, Kathy. And unless there are any other questions or comments, we'll move to rulemaking with Chris Scarro.
Thank you, Chair Sathoff. Commissioners, Director Pack, for the record, my name is Chris Scarro. I'm the Rules and Policy Analyst for Lottery, and I have 2 rulemaking items this month. First, we completed the public rulemaking process to make a housekeeping update to one of our scratch ticket rules. We had an internal work group here at Lottery looking at our rules and policies relating to damaged or stolen tickets. And one of that work group's recommendations was to correct the loss theft value threshold in our rule. Specifically, the rule said $200, but in practice we use $150. So just a housekeeping update. For the record, we filed notice with the Secretary of State on July 15th. We notified folks as required by law. We provided several weeks for the public to comment, and we also held a rulemaking hearing, but we did not receive any comment for you to consider today. Director Pack has reviewed the rule and recommends the commission adopt it as is presented in your meeting materials today to be effective on October 1st. So happy to take questions. Otherwise, you should have a motion when you're ready.
Thanks, Chris. Questions or comments about this proposed rulemaking? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt the proposed rulemaking?
I move that OAR 177-050-0037 be amended as presented in the meeting materials today, effective October 1st, 2022.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox,
Aye.
and Chair Sathoff.
Aye. For the record, the motion is passed. Chris, you're up for the second chance.
Thank you. Yeah, we also completed the process to amend our second chance drawing rules. So the rules as amended would give lottery discretion to offer more prizes and conduct more than one drawing. These smaller prizes and additional drawings are in addition to the usual final drawing for a top prize. So players who win a smaller prize remain eligible for the top prize. So no changes for our players other than more opportunities to win, and we hope that increases interest in our second chance. So for the record, we filed notice with the Secretary of State on July 15th, made notifications as required by law, provided several weeks for the public to comment in writing, and held a rulemaking hearing. All that being said, no comment for you to consider today. Director Pack has reviewed these rules and recommends the commission adopt them as presented in your meeting materials today to be effective on October 1st. Happy to take questions. Otherwise, you should have a motion when you're ready.
Questions or comments from the commission on the second chance rulemaking?
I just have one question. So I see that it says at the lottery's discretion, they can hold the additional drawings. How will you determine how many of these to do? What will be the decision criteria?
Thank you for the question. So that might be a better question for, I think Shad has a presentation later. He can probably get in the details, but my understanding is we want to do kind of a pilot to start with. So have the discretion to kind of play around with this a bit. And Shad, were you going to jump in?
Yeah, Chris, let me help a little bit. So it's a great question. We don't exactly know what the right number of prizes will be. These will be much smaller prizes. So Second Chance today awards the equal of a top prize. And one of the comments we get a lot is it's just one prize. And yet with the nature of scratch it tickets, there are many prizes often. So it's kind of this code switch from kind of one to the other. And so we would take advertising budget and kind of figure out that, like, is it 3 additional prizes? Is it 4 additional prizes? So we just need to learn a bit from kind of a customer interaction and some of the what we hear after we've done this. So initially, we will be launching with a few extra prizes per game until we can kind of solidify the plan over the course of maybe a year or so.
Okay, so without this rule change, you wouldn't even be able to run the test. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The rule before stated that we could only award 1 prize per ticket for Second Chance.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt the proposed rulemaking?
I move that OARs 177-052-0010, 0030, 0040, and 0050 be amended as presented in the meeting materials today, effective October 1st, 2022.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox,
Aye.
Chair Sathoff.
Aye. For the record, the motion is passed. Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And with that, let's move to staff updates. I think the first one is our Play It Forward media campaign with Shad.
Yeah, Chair Sathoff, Lottery Commissioners, Director Pack. For the record, I'm Shad Barnes, Senior Manager of Digital Marketing here at the Lottery, and I'm here to talk a bit about a currently running campaign called Play It Forward. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for a moment here. Everybody see that okay?
Yep, I can anyway.
Thank you. So we have a currently running campaign. It launched on the 12th of September, simply titled Play It Forward. And as you can see from the title image here, it's really drawing a link between the games we sell and the results that come from that. That's kind of the why of the lottery. So I'm going to share the commercial first. Actually, my apologies. I forgot to turn on the audio part of the sharing, so I'm going to start over again on the sharing. Okay, so yeah, I'll start with the TV commercial that is in market now.
Here in Oregon, playing a little lottery helps support a whole lot of good, like funding education across the state, connecting veterans with essential services, or investing in Oregon's economic future. So, no matter how you play the Oregon Lottery, you're playing it forward for all of us. Lottery games are based on chance and should be played for entertainment only.
So the key message of Play It Forward is a little play from a lot of Oregonians adds up to a lot of support for the places and programs Oregon loves. So when you play your favorite games, you play it forward. This is a new series of campaigns, and our intention is to take a more straightforward approach to connect Oregon Lottery gameplay with the funds and the programs and the places the Oregonians care about. To that note, this is an Oregon Lottery brand campaign, and we're utilizing Play It Forward as an extension of our established brand tagline, Together We Do Good Things. Now, Together We Do Good Things is the what, where Play It Forward is kind of the how, is the way we intended it. It's important to note that Together We Do Good Things isn't being retired or phased out. We're choosing to bring the how to the forefront for the next kind of 12 to 18 months. And it's really intentional around a quicker read and a bit more conversational than Together We Do Good Things. And just a quick refresh for 12 to 18 months or so. As I said, this campaign is live. It started in early September. We're going to be running this until mid-November when we get into holiday. And this is as multi-channel as a campaign the Oregon Lottery is going to do. And you can kind of see from the graphic here what percentage of different assets will be out in the world between broadcast TV, connected TV, which is kind of the more of the streaming style television that people watch a lot of, print, social, radio, and so on. It's important also to note that it's really important for us to kind of connect the 18 plus Oregonians with that right message at the right time. And 54% of the money is allocated towards digital and social, with the remaining 46 going to those traditional pieces. And then another important note is that approximately 15% of our spend is allocated towards Spanish speaking and multicultural television, radio, digital audio, and print. And I'm just going to show a smidge of kind of where we're at in the market and how we're showing up. You've already seen the TV. These are animated ads. They appear on some social media channels, and we've worked really closely with Business Oregon, as you'll see in one of these ads, to kind of align around the way that they are utilizing lottery funds to help fund tech investment in the state. And we wanted really cared about having that show up in the spots we kind of put together. So there are a couple of them here. That first one's just kind of a portal in, kind of around funding from Outdoor School. And then the second one is the Business Oregon piece I'm kind of alluding to. And the important shift here is that for often we've centered around things like construction projects and large machinery and folks kind of putting buildings together, and really trying to kind of show tech across the entire gamut. And keep in mind that these are like 2 of 600 assets that are built out in the market. Again, just another kind of collection of some of the things that you'll see in market. Throughout the campaign, you'll notice there's this recurring kind of arrow motif. It should make pretty good sense with the whole Play It Forward piece. And kind of really underlining our key message of kind of $1 at a time, a little lottery play does a lot of good for Oregon. And just other delightful little slight animation that we've built into this campaign.
Chad, could I ask a question here?
Please.
Just, and if you're going to get to that, just tell me to hold off. I like all of this a lot. I think the play it forward is really interesting. So actually I have two questions. Remind me who our consultant is that helps us with this, but more than that, do we have a set of metrics or targets? Like when we do these things, I'm assuming we have some end goals. I mean, other than the obvious, to get people making the connection. I'm more interested in how do we know if if this campaign is effective? Are there things that we look at the beginning and at the end just to see if we think it's been effective in any way? And if so, what might that be?
So Chair Safoff, we could talk for an hour about this, but I'll give you kind of a brief executive summary. So we track a lot around these things. One of the biggest pieces is unaided awareness of the beneficiaries and the funding that lottery supports. That for a campaign like this is one of the bigger pieces. Lottery favorability is another piece that we spend a lot on tracking. And then I will just tell you, within kind of the way we track our stuff, we have an awful lot of hard metrics that come out of these kind of campaigns, especially in digital, where we can see interaction, we can get customer sentiment, we can kind of get ideas of sometimes where people in general on channels like social media and some of the digital channels where they really appreciate the information, and other times where they don't so much, and it helps us shift. So, and again, that's a really quick answer to a complex. There are so many things that we're tracking all the time.
It's really helpful. And the only thing I would ask is for you all to consider, you've got this targeted to end in near the holidays, somewhere maybe in the new year after you've had a chance to compile results. Maybe you could come back and share at a high level. I think you have done that before, sharing at a high level the results of campaigns and surveys you've done. And that would be, I would really like to see that when this one is done, if we get an opportunity on an upcoming agenda after you finished it.
Absolutely. Would love to share the results of this. We will be looking at another campaign kind of in this vein come the new year after holiday is over, but I will take you up on that offer. We'll be back.
Great, thank you.
And I will say, I think you missed last week's meeting, but we did do a follow-up on our state parks campaign that we ran over the summer. I missed that meeting as well. Andrea, who's in my department, presented. So
okay,
happy to send it your way.
Yeah, no, I thought we had done this in the past, so it wasn't surprised me that you'd run these metrics. So anyway, thank you very much, Chad.
And we're about wrapped up here. So finally, as another piece of this play forward, one of the things we really seek, and again, some of those metrics is just engagement. So it's really important to us that people truly understand, when they're playing these games, where does the money actually go? And it's also important to us, as you can see in some of these print ads, that we really we find some ways to kind of get the multicultural pieces together. So this piece you see in the middle is a print ad that is running in a publication called The Asian Reporter. We call out Kam Wah Chung, which is this wonderful state heritage site here in Oregon, and how lottery dollars have helped keep that maintained as a part of state parks. And we are getting close to Veterans Day. This campaign will run into Veterans Day. So we have a piece in the Portland Observer talking about how lottery funds help support Oregon's veterans as a part of our work. So I'll just kind of end with saying that we've seen a lot of success. The state parks campaign I mentioned recently of really tying gameplay together with the resulting good things. And we are always learning better ways to engage and serve Oregonians to the best of our abilities. So does anybody have any other questions before I pass the baton over to Stacy?
Hearing no questions and comments from the commission. If you're done, Chad, we'll move to the responsible gaming program with Stacy and Gina.
Good morning, commissioners. Director Pack, for the record, I'm Stacy Shaw, Senior Manager of Product Marketing for the Lottery. I'm here today to give you some, I hope, exciting updates on our responsible gaming program. And I'm very excited to be joined by Gina Parzial, She's the executive director of the Oregon Council on Problem Gambling, which we're also on the board for that. And she's got a program that is innovative and exciting, and I'm really glad she is joining us today. Shad, if you move to the next slide. There we go. So a couple of months ago, Barry, as he sometimes does, previewed the fact that we had recently achieved our second round of level 4 certification from the World Lottery Association. And I believe he shared that we were very proud about that and that, it was a big deal. And, in fact, it was a big deal and it took a ton of work. But what I'm hoping to do today is kind of show you some of the outcomes of what it means to be certified by the World Lottery Association at this level. It's all about continuous improvement. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the things we are in flight on or have recently done relative to our investment in research, employee engagement, retailer engagement, and how we get people to treatment. So next slide. So I'm not going to belabor this, but WLA, the World Lottery Association, there's 4 levels of certification. Level 4 is the highest. This is the second time we've done it. We are one of only 8 in the US to achieve this level. And I always think it's worth noting that we're the only lottery that has VLT in their portfolio. And, I know that we believe that because we have that in our portfolio, we work even harder and are focused more on our RG program. There are
Stacey, I just wanted to pause for a moment on that because I saw that in the slide deck and I just made my own note, like this is a real wow. That we are the only lottery with VLT that has achieved this is, I think, just like testament to this team, a testament to the lottery and the effort that the Oregon Lottery puts towards responsible gaming. So I want to just thank you all now for that.
Thank you, Chair. I want to thank you for something because I think I was telling Kathy Stromberg that we were on a call at one point and somebody was presenting and I was glad it wasn't me. And you had said, that's a lot of outputs. What are the outcomes? And we always think about that when, in a lot of times I think about that. And that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. We have 10 elements. We have some outcomes on all of them, but we've done some very big projects very recently in these 4 areas, which are research, our employee engagement, our retailer engagement, and our treatment and referral marketing. And I think we're going to get kicked off today to talk about investment in research. And Gina Parziale is gracious to join us today. So I'm going to turn it over to her to talk a little bit about.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me to be here today. I'm Gina Parziale. I'm the executive director, as she said, of the Oregon Council on Problem Gambling. And this year we kicked off our research center, which is a project that we had been speaking about for a while, but with the challenges of COVID and other factors, weren't really able to get going. And so we are thrilled and grateful for the support from the Oregon Lottery. And with your help and the support of others, we've been able to hire a research director and started our first round of funding. So if you could bring up the next slide, please. So you can see here the objectives of the research program. We really want to serve as a resource for research in Oregon to stimulate new research and to be a credible source for all invested parties. So we want to focus on best practices for effective player protection strategies and how to best market the treatment. We want to understand at-risk groups and underrepresented groups. So for example, the LGBTQ community in Oregon, veterans, people with developmental disabilities, youth gaming, sports betting, make sure that we have a full understanding of the landscape in Oregon. We want to have a better understanding of the implications for policy changes and expansion in Oregon. As you know, we are certainly not opposed to expansion in gambling in Oregon. We just want to make sure that we understand all of the implications before moving forward with any policy changes. And so part of this research center is to study and get that understanding to be able to make better recommendations to our leaders. And we also fund innovative projects in other areas. If we can go to the next slide. So these are our founding sponsors. As you can see, the Oregon Lottery is there. OHA is also there, and Aristocrat Gaming has been very supportive of our efforts as well, for which we are very grateful. Next slide. All right, so as you can see here, these are our grants that we are going to be awarding in the first year. We are going to be, our first grant process kicked off this summer, and we will be giving out approximately $100,000 to various institutions. And you can see something that we're very proud of is that we have representation from several different colleges and universities: Portland State University, University of Oregon, Oregon State, Pacific University, and Lewis and Clark are working together on a project, and Lewis and Clark is also working together on a project with OSU. And this was very important to us because we want to build relationships and have problem gambling research being on the minds and the agendas of colleges, college research programs. And so we are thrilled about that. You can see the topics are also very widely ranging. Something that we found interesting is that we received grant projects from various departments, from anthropology to psychology. So it's something where we're excited about the multidisciplinary focus that we've been able to achieve. As you can see here, I'm not going to read the slide to you, but we'll be doing a study on better understanding BLTs in Portland area, neutral signatures for problem gambling, the effects of alcohol on gambling and decision-making. We have projects that are focused on Spanish-speaking Latino organizations, and how problem gambling is present within historically marginalized populations, and that includes the LGBTQ community of Oregon. So all of these projects will be receiving about $20,000 this year. Thanks. Our next project that we're working on is we're doing a student survey with PSU and other schools. And this is going to be to better understand their gambling habits, specifically in Oregon, their thoughts on online sports gambling and expansion into the NCAA. We will also be asking student athletes about that specifically to understand their feelings about expansion into the NCAA or potential expansion into NCAA for online gambling. We want to understand how they gamble, where they gamble, and the impact of online gambling to them. We will be doing white papers on relevant topics. So we've reached out to the new committee in Oregon to see what information would be helpful to them. And we'll be creating white papers on these relevant topics for them so that we can help provide better guidance. And our next grant application round 2, will be this winter, December and January. And we are hoping to have even more applicants for that.
On the white papers, just a question on the white papers you'll be doing. Will those ultimately be published, or do you then summarize them in a report? Can people get to the white papers individually?
Absolutely. We will be looking to publish them. We certainly will be making them available at least on our website and in public forums that are relevant. And we'll be seeking to have them published in journals when appropriate.
Thanks.
So Gina, thank you so much. Are there any other questions for Gina before I continue?
I just want to say thank you again for all of your support. And it wasn't mentioned here. I don't know if it was mentioned on past calls. I wanted to say congratulations to the Oregon Lottery for the award that you won at the NCPG annual conference this year for greatness in all that you do to ensure that that gambling, responsible gambling, is taken into consideration through your efforts. We are grateful.
Gina, for the commission, thank you so much for joining us today. And frankly, just the partnership between us is really important. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gina. We'll talk to you very soon. But you're hanging out. So let me talk to you about a few other things that we're particularly excited about that are having some good impacts in keeping our program relevant and updated. So I want to talk a little bit about a pilot we did, a training pilot on self-care for our staff that are out engaging with retailers and players. It started as a response to COVID. As you can imagine, we have people out there every day dealing with retailers and customers, particularly as COVID waxed and waned in the early part, with rules changing every day, people being very uncertain about their economic futures, all kinds of things. And that quite often lottery folks would get the brunt of some of that. And it was very hard. And at the same time, we were worried about people moving into gambling excessively as a reaction to some of the things that were going uncertainty on in their lives. So we are also kind of asking our staff to promote responsible gambling while all this is going on. And, a very difficult ask, but still necessary. And also asking them in some cases to do it from 6 feet away. But can you go back, Shad, to the other slide quickly? And so we, as we were coming out of COVID, we were doing a lot of research with our staff and with retailers saying, is it getting better? And the answer is kind of like, it's getting different. So there's a lot of things going on that are keeping people uncertain, making our staff sometimes having to deal with very difficult situations, again, while we want them to promote RG. So we engaged with Jay Robinson, who is an industry leading expert in training and many other things in the RG space, to build us a live webinar that was focused squarely on self-care for our staff. These were 30-minute interactive. It was a 30-minute interactive session. Jay led it, and it was really about helping people care for themselves so that they can help us care for our customers. Next slide, please. We ran the pilot months ago, and we had a very good response. People felt it really took into account real life situations they had, helped them reframe how to engage again with retailers and customers on responsible gambling. So we determined to roll it out, and we are working primarily with Ty's team, particularly the sales, service, and hotline teams who have a lot of customer and retailer facing. And we're doing 10 more live webinars with this staff. Our intent is to continue to focus on self-care. It is part of any good CSR program that you care for the wellness and safety of your staff. And so we want to use their feedback from this training to inform additional curriculum. We're going to be doing more scenario-based, taking their real life lived experiences to create the training instead of using theoretics. And we are using self-care principles and starting to put those into some of our other staff training. So we're really excited about this. And this is a demand, our staff would really like this and value it. So we're really paying attention to it and trying to make it a bigger part of the training that we do. So next slide. And in keeping with the topic of training, one of the things that we do routinely every year is that we have groups of retailers, video lottery retailers, or our lottery product retailers take annual training. And the idea here is to make sure they know how to promote responsible gambling in their establishments and what their obligations are. We have this as a required training, but last year we introduced some optional training. And, you know, normally I would not get real excited about 382 views. But when you consider that we have about 2,000 retailers, that's not a bad response rate for something that is voluntary. So it tells me that there is some appetite for learning and understanding how to engage with a lens on RG. So we developed 4 optional trainings. And what we're doing now is, you know, seeing who's using them, working on promoting the use of them. We put them in we put calls to action around this in retailer communications, and really seeing if we can give the retailers something that they find useful, not just the things we require them to take. So,
Daisy, can I ask a question about this? I get that these are all voluntary, and I'm not a real proponent of sticks versus carrots, but I'm wondering, have you ever thought about doing something to incent retailers to want to do these, or is that just something that hasn't worked for us?
It's something we have. We have in the past done retailer incentives for a variety of things. For sales contests, or we have in the past even done it for some training. It is not, we haven't done it recently, but we were just bringing these out to see what kind of adoption we get. And I think as it's a real possibility that as we look to expand this, we would add that to the toolkit. Yes.
I think your numbers are good. I'm certainly not disappointed at all for voluntary. I just was wondering what we might do to encourage more, and maybe even just having some of these people some of these entities who have done these commenting on the usefulness of it or the value of it to others. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's wonderful that for voluntary reviews, you've got these numbers as it is. So great job.
And I appreciate that. And we really do need to talk. We're going to be working with some of the people in the retail channel to talk about that. They have a much better handle on how we can motivate retailers. And so, yeah, it is all about trying to get this better and better over time. So thank you. We will definitely be considering that. Next slide. So I want to talk a little bit about how we market to have people be aware of the resources that are out there for help, not necessarily entirely always treatment. So this is one of those ones about moving from outputs to outcomes. We employ a strategy for this marketing that we call always on. It simply means it's always on. We have different weights in our media, but we're always running media that tells people about what the resources are and how to access them. And it's important because people come in and out when they're ready to hear a message, and we want to be there when they're ready so that they know what to do. So we run quite a lot of advertising, and we have to keep it so that people look at it. We're constantly message testing and optimizing and making sure that people are seeing these, that they don't become wallpaper. But what we've done in the past 18 months, 2 years, very purposefully is move from, we used to come in and we'd say that we got 100,000 clicks, but it didn't really tell us anything. We didn't know what was happening. So what we're measuring now when we measure this advertising is engagements. So what are people, they're looking into help for others. They text with us. They use the find a meeting button. They actually call the helpline, or they live chat with us. So we have a much better sense of if this marketing is driving engagement and getting people to the help that they need. So, and at some point we can come back and give you much more detail, but I just want to talk about how we've really shifted away from looking at clicks to looking at engagement. And I think that's true in all our marketing. And Shad has, we'll talk more about that. Finally, I wanted to talk about, Gina mentioned this very kindly, that Lottery won an award. And we all know we're not in the business of winning awards, but we really like it. But I wanted to talk about why we won this one. It was for multicultural communications. And it was not about us having beautiful ads, which we do, but this took into account a little bit more than that. It was about we have some clear strategies about multicultural. We allocate our media budget to equitably support vendors and publications across the state. We cultivate partnerships with those medias. We work on making sure we have appropriate in-language efforts. We plan inclusively also from a geographic standpoint so that we are getting urban, suburban, and rural in all the marketing that we do. Our creative is relevant and very much culturally appropriate. And when we get paid media, and the pictures here are about stories that we've been able to get published. And we are very purposeful about highlighting diverse stories when we do this. So in addition to having very attractive advertising, we won an award because we take a 360 approach to multicultural communication. So that makes us even prouder of it than we would be normally. So next slide, please. Kind of a letdown, that one. Next time we come back, we'll be talking to you about some of the other areas that WLA accredits us on, and that is how we train our staff, all of our staff. We're working on some new work on RG messaging, on having RG messaging that is very much aligned with things like sports or seasonality. So we'll share that with you. We're also doing some PSA style marketing during holiday and key sports seasons, and we will share those with you as well. So thank you very much for your time. And if there are any questions, I'd love to hear them.
I just have one quick question. So when we kicked off the meeting today, we started with some public comment from the Voices of Problem Gambling Recovery. I'm just curious, so that comment has been received. What's the process for, internalizing it and then responding to it? I'm just curious how you treat these kind of public comments.
Well, Barry, if you want to jump in at all on the process, but I'm going to reiterate what Chair Sathoff said. We take them very seriously. We typically, what will happen for us in a situation like this is, because we don't comment on them during the meeting, we bring them in, the people that are the subject matter areas and whatever the comment may be are consulted, and we go back and we sort of address them in a, is this particular comment, how can we respond to this and provide good information, the background. Sometimes the background isn't really clear on where people are getting their sources and things like that. So we spend quite a lot of time revisiting something and going back and then reconnecting with stakeholders. So we routinely connect with the Oregon Council on Problem Gambling and share things they may have heard or things that they have concerns about what we believe the key talking points are. So different comments, different approaches, but taking it seriously, having subject matter experts look at it, and then circling back with key stakeholders to inform them. Typically, we will also send something to the commission if it comes through the commission meeting to show that we've addressed it and tell you the things that we're looking at or the things that we think we need to respond further to. And Barry, if you have anything to add to that.
Did a great job, Stacy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is there your question, Commissioner?
Yeah, Stacy, this is Julie Wilcox. I have one other question, and it kind of goes back to the ways that we're have RG and we're using it actively. For the live chat and texting with us, is that something that's 24/7? I probably heard this before, but I've forgotten.
The live chat is not 24/7, but the helpline is 24/7. And for let's say crisis level things, there's always a way to transfer and get somebody to a live person at any time. For other things, you might be contacted within 24 hours.
Thank you so much.
Gina, am I completely accurate on it? I think I am, but
Yes, I believe so.
okay.
Additional questions or comments from the commission? Commissioner Ramirez, I just wanted to point out that in the time I've been on the lottery, there have been a couple of occasions where things that were raised in the public discourse part of the meeting that the lottery looked at very closely. One I remember in particular caused them to make some modifications in what they were doing. And another one was really a situation where they, as Stacy explained, they went back and explained there was a difference in kind of the data people were using. And the lottery went back and said, look, our data shows this, and we're not sure what you're looking at. And had I thought what was reported out later was a very fruitful conversation. Not that we reached the same, we didn't always agree at the end, but I think the point is that the public brings forward comments, and we should take them all serious and consider them. And the public deserves some response, and I think the lottery does a nice job of that. Anyway, I was just going to point out that in my tenure here, I've seen that happen. With that, we have, it looks like, progress toward known play, and I believe Michael Wilson is on for that. Should we move forward with that?
Sure. Chair Sathoff, Commissioners, Director Pack, for the record, my name is Michael Wilson. I am the Senior Manager of Portfolio Product Management at the Lottery. I am here to give you a little bit of a progress report that we're making on what we lovingly call known play. If you remember, making progress towards known play has been previously presented as a key business objective for fiscal year 2023. And in this case, we're describing known play as allowing players to create their own accounts for purposes of things like greater convenience, such as the registration that they can do for Second Chance or for our Scratch It games, and also to provide benefits to them, such as access to responsible gaming tools like timeouts and self-exclusion capabilities that they currently have within DraftKings. So known play is not new in Oregon. However, to date, we haven't had any known play associated with our video lottery games. So the update is basically on a current initiative that would provide known play at video lottery games, specifically to address a security issue that has been raised with what would be high-tier jackpot winners for our statewide progressive jackpot games that have been discussed with this group before. We do have, jackpot wins at our VLTs currently, and when players win, they receive a paper ticket. The paper ticket is spit out from the VLT, and it acts as a bearer instrument that can be lost or stolen, either of which, once you get to these statewide jackpot games, would be a horrible experience if you just had a potentially life-changing win. So we worked with our vendor, IGT, to define a solution that would meet the needs of security and still maintain a good customer experience. Since they've never had accounts at the VLTs before, this would be something new, so we want to be very careful about it. So basically, the way that this would work, if I am now at a statewide progressive game in the future, I have a large win, I would be prompted to, hey, congratulations on your large win. You now need to create an account. We've just asked for some basic information such as their first name, last name, a username and password, so nothing creepy that they might object to providing. And then they save their account. And the winning amount is then stored in that account. Now they can go back to the account at any time to verify that it's actually there. So they could log in. All this is still being done at the video lottery terminal. When they choose to redeem that win, they would go into lottery offices as they currently do, but instead of bringing with them a paper ticket that, again, could be lost or stolen, they will log into their account at the lottery offices, and that winning amount will be redeemed just in exactly the same way as it currently is. So that's the short of what they will be doing. It's just another example of how, you know, we can use Known Play for things to provide player safety and security. And that's pretty much it. It's very simple, and I would entertain any questions you might have about what we're doing.
Questions or comments? Michael, is this something that we'll hear more of? Maybe not with respect to this particular security issue, but I'm assuming that moving the Known Play into the video lottery arena, that we'll be hearing some more about this.
Absolutely. Moving the capabilities for this as a security feature will have an impact on a very small number of players. You know, it'll be the number of players who win these large jackpot amounts. There are opportunities in the future for any amount that right now they would have to bring in to the lottery offices. So that's any taxable amount where we need to ensure that we know who they are and we can, you know, get the monies out to them. Yes, it will extend that. And there will be future opportunities to expand on RG capabilities within the video lottery terminals as well. That will all be future state. And those things, as we move through that, will obviously be brought before your team so that you have visibility into what we're doing and everybody else has the ability to comment upon it.
Great, thank you.
And Madam Chair, if I can jump in here too as well. We will be bringing you periodic updates on all of the key business objectives for this fiscal year. And then as Michael said, you know, this is a first incremental step. It's probably a year out. And any other expansions requires a lot of discussion and consultation with partners and some policy choices that have to be made. So this is just, you know, the first incremental step towards providing some better security for our players, and then lots of discussions to come moving forward.
Great, thank you very much. With that, is there any other business that anyone from the lottery or the commission would like to raise at this time? Hearing none, this concludes today's meeting of the Oregon State Lottery Commission. The next meeting is scheduled on Wednesday, October 26th. And thank you all for attending today's meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Bye, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Thanks all.